So guys, we are done with the course, but probably you're wondering if you like the software and so on, how can you continue your Aspen Tech education and your training? So I prepared this little lecture right here. If you're interested on getting more material, well, I'm going to show you how I structured the overall course on Aspen HYSYS. So the first one is the course we are taking right now, which is, let's say, the course 0. Then I would definitely recommend you to take a basic course which shows you a little bit more detail on all the things we saw. For instance, the physical property environment, the simulation environment. We saw much more. We see much more in detail the unit operations, how to fill them, getting better results, how to add the graph, tables, and so on. So this is the basic approach right here. Let me show it to you. The course I prepare for you is called Aspen HYSYS, which is a basic course. I plan to do as well a intermediate, advanced course, and some specific courses. For instance, how to use the dynamic operations, a little bit more cases which are going to be about oil, chemicals, gas applications, how to work with petroleum assays, the economic analysis, and the EDR heat exchanger, which is a, let's say, more detailed heat exchanger software. Now, in the basic course, you will see as well how to model a little bit more complex processes, for instance, petrochemical and other chemical industry processes. Now, analysis of unit operations will be done as well. We try to not only simply input the data, but also to learn how to change the inputs, how to fix them, how to decrease the degrees of freedom in order to set up a simulation. Now, this is very didactic. Actually, we have plenty of theory, but we have a lot of applied theory. I like to call this on-hands work, which is essentially done via workshops. We state, for instance, this course is a workshop. We state a problem and we fix it, simulate it, and present results. Also, we have plenty of case studies, which is essentially working a workshop and try to increase or optimize the process itself. At the end of the basic course, you will be able to set up more complex simulations. You will be able to add more to the physical environment, to the component list. You will be able to choose better fluid packages and more fluid packages. You will be able as well to use more unit operations, more complex unit operations. Then we will see how to add better reporting, more friendly for the user. Let's say for someone that is not doing this process, that knows how to read a report, we will do those types of report. And finally, we tried as well, as stated before, workshop and case studies is the analysis. One thing is only modeling, the other thing is to try to understand the modulation, the simulation, and eventually try to improve it. Typically, in the intermediate and advanced courses, we will see much more on technical stuff such as creating templates, how to check out previous projects, extensions, how to use the OneDrive, how to get some support, and some continuous training as well. The physical property environment, well, we'll see much more on fluid package modification, not only choosing your fluid package, but actually choose and modify them. More on the type of substances, the component list, not only choose them, but also work with your own substances. For instance, if you got a chemical that does not appear on the Aspen HYSYS database, you can do it, or also via assays. You can also get hypos. We will work more on the study of physical properties instead of actually doing simulation. Let's say, how does toluene plus benzene plus hylene work? We want to do maybe a ternary diagram or maybe a boiling point diagram and so on. You can do it without even opening the simulation. Now, of course, you will want to know more on unit operations. We will work much more on heat exchange, more rigorous and detailed. We will work on distillations and petroleum design refinery. The typical batch separation, which is not that useful, let's say not not that used on courses. Typically we only see the distillation columns. More on reactor engineering, we will use all the reactors, probably the CSTR, continuous stirred tank reactor, the PFR, which is plug flow reactor, and let's say the Gibbs, the equilibrium, the conversion reactor as well. More on kinetic theory, we'll do extraction, liquid extraction, logical operators, let's say the set, recycle, multiplier, and so on. And more on hydraulics, especially pressure drops, gas flow in pipes, the decrease in, let's say, pressure due to friction, and so on. Now in these specific courses we will check out more courses which are, as the name implies, more specific. Let's say we see, wait for it, here, the dynamic course, which is mainly on transient state or how to run a simulation in steady and unsteady state or batch modeling as well. Also the economy environment is another specific course, how to use the economic environment right here, capital cost, utility cost, etc. Safety and energy environments are also included in other courses as well. And say, wait for it, yeah, here. We work on, maybe if you choose an advanced course on oil and gas, you will see plenty of applications for petrochemical and gas industry. We will work on petroleum assays, specifically how to improve the assay characterization and how to model it on Aspen HYSYS. And finally, we check out the EDR, which is the heat exchanger detail or more in-depth course right here. If you want to see much more on how to model a heat exchanger via tubes, the geometry, the change in temperature, and all that, you can do it in the EDR, heat exchange. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys. You can always go and check out the courses via Aspen HYSYS or even Aspen Plus.